You know, another conversation I had with the BSA officer the other day, you know, we talked about how we're going to meet these challenges of OCC 2011-12 and all of the mathematical processes that have to go on behind the scenes to meet those challenges. But one of his biggest challenges is quite simply a shrinking budget, right? So he's got more and more volume of transactions and alerts. They're going through processes of mergers, and he's been asked by the board to cover all this with a static set of investigators. So he's got to become more effective and more efficient with the investigators he has. So he's looking at possibilities of improving his business process, but also from an analytics standpoint, he's wondering how we might be able to help him work smarter, work investigations that are truly of a high quality, and somehow remove some of the lower quality alerts or investigations.
What do you think his biggest pain point is from maybe a triage or an investigation standpoint?
I think one of the biggest problems is they're so flooded with false positives that it's quite often difficult to get to that true good investigation, and even maybe sometimes when you see that good investigation, you flow by it so quickly and you don't recognize it because you're so inundated with false positives all the time. So what we've done in the past is to start to develop some true predictive models that look at more than just what a typical scenario would look at. So a typical scenario looks at 3, 4, 5 pieces of data. They look at the transaction type, when it happened, you know, where it happened, these types of things. And that's what's typically used in generating an alert. But when their investigators actually go in and investigate the customer, not the alert, because that's what they're doing, they're investigating the customer, they're looking much broader than those 5 or 6 data attributes. They're looking at the whole customer profile. Where do they live? Who do they do business with? What types of transactions are they doing? And where are those transactions coming from, going to? What are the cadence of those transactions? So they're looking at a huge data set, and that's how they're making their decision. So one of the goals we had with our predictive modeling approach was to capture a set of data that represented kind of the decisions that an investigator is conducting day to day. So when he's looking at a set of transactions, what is it that he's trying to pull out of those transactions? When he's looking at a customer profile, what is it? What are the data attributes that he's either looking directly at or figuring out in his head and looking at? And we capture that information, create a modeling data set so that we can take those decisions they've made on whether or not this investigation was productive, non-productive, whether it led to a SAR, and we can start building using machine learning techniques like neural nets, like decision trees, like logistic regression, to start predicting when a customer would lead to a good investigation and when it's most likely something that's probably not worthy of investigating right now.
Is that something you think we can jump right into, or maybe take baby steps to get into that?
Yeah, I really think it depends on the maturity of the customer and where they are in their monitoring program. If they just have gone with the vendors straight out of the box scenarios and rules, and they really haven't weighed into this tuning process yet, if they haven't thought about customer segmentation and how to direct their scenarios and rules at specific segments, then they probably need to hit that hurdle first before they can think about how do I do a better job in deciding which customers to investigate and which maybe to put on hold till next month to see if their riskiness has increased.
Yeah, some of the advanced reports we've got nowadays really cover some of the segmentation modeling very well with some of the decision trees we can build that'll help show what attributes differentiate a risky customer from a non-risky customer, or what attributes of those risky customers can lead to more productive investigation as well. Those are some of the more advanced reports we have these days that we can implement. Some of the other advanced things we look at, the transaction profile for those different segments. So within the decision trees, we can look at a histogram of what's the behavior of the transactions that are happening at those specific segments that are risky to the bank.